Today, we're diving into what might be one of the most brilliant and honestly most savage pieces of political literature ever written. We're talking about John Dryden's Absalom and the Achitophel.
So let's just jump right in. Picture this. It's 17th century England, and the whole kingdom is on the brink of tearing itself apart. And the king's secret weapon, his most powerful tool, isn't an army. It's a poem. I mean, how on earth do you fight a political war with a poem? And not just fight it, but maybe even win it before the first shot is even fired.
Well, to figure that out, we've got to understand the weapon itself because, this wasn't your typical flowery poetry. Oh no, this was a masterclass in a very specific and, I'd say, pretty dangerous art form.
And that art form is called verse satire. Seriously, think of it like the ultimate political takedown. It's got all the elegance and rhythm of poetry, but it's got this incredibly sharp, vicious bite of ridicule. The goal here isn't just to entertain. It's to expose your enemy, to mock them, and really to completely dismantle them in the public eye.
Okay, so let's get the key details on this thing. First, the author, John Dryden. Now, this guy wasn't just some random writer. He was England's very first poet laureate, like the official poet for the entire kingdom. He drops his poem in 1681, right in the middle of some serious political chaos, and the way he wrote it, in these tight, rhyming pairs of lines called heroic couplets. It was the perfect vehicle for what this poem really was, a targeted piece of political propaganda, straight up.
But here's the thing. You can't just come out and directly attack the most powerful men in the country. That's a great way to end up in a lot of trouble. So Dryden needed a clever disguise for his attack, and he found the absolute perfect cover story in a famous tale from the Old Testament.
You probably know the one. It's all about King David's son, Absalom. This guy's handsome, he's super popular with the people, but he's also dangerously ambitious. He gets manipulated by this scheming advisor, Achitophel, to start a rebellion against his own dad. It's this big, dramatic attempt to seize the throne, and, spoiler alert, it ends in total disaster for him. It was this perfect, well-known story of betrayal that pretty much everyone in England at the time would have known by heart.
Okay, and this is where things get really, really clever. Dryden takes this familiar biblical story and uses it like a secret code. He's not really talking about ancient history. He's talking about the political firestorm that was raging right there in his own time.
So imagine you're a reader back in 1681. You pick this up and you instantly get it. You know this isn't some dusty old history lesson. Nope. You're reading a scandalous, juicy, and frankly, dangerous piece of commentary about your own king and his enemies right now.
So let's crack this code together. The wise, patient King David, that was King Charles II. The handsome but way too ambitious son, Absalom, that was a stand-in for Charles's actual illegitimate son, the Duke of Monmouth. And that evil, whispering advisor, Achitophel? Oh, everybody knew exactly who that was, the Earl of Shaftesbury, the king's #1 political rival.
Okay, so now that we have the key, we can unlock the real-world drama that made this poem so unbelievably explosive. And it all boiled down to one huge burning question. Who was going to be the next king? See, King Charles II didn't have any legitimate kids. His official heir was his brother, James. The problem? James was a Catholic, and in fiercely Protestant England, the idea of a Catholic monarch was for many people an absolute nightmare. This created a massive power vacuum, and you know what they say about power vacuums? Ambitious people love to rush in and fill them.
And man, did things escalate fast. It started in 1678 with this totally fabricated conspiracy called the Popish Plot, which just ignited this wave of anti-Catholic paranoia across the country. That directly led to something called the Exclusion Crisis, where politicians, led by our guy, the Earl of Shaftesbury, tried to pass laws to literally exclude the king's Catholic brother from ever taking the throne. It was right at the height of all this chaos, in 1681, that Dryden drops his poetic bombshell. And here's the really chilling part. Just 4 years later, the Duke of Monmouth, the real-life Absalom, actually did lead a rebellion. The poem basically became a dark prophecy that came true.
So that's the what and the why. But what about the how? How did Dryden actually pull this off? How did he use his words to make his enemies look not just wrong, but also completely foolish and deeply sinister?
His main target, without a doubt, was the Earl of Shaftesbury, our achitophel, and Dryden's portrayal is just masterful. He doesn't just paint him as some cardboard cutout villain. No, he describes him as this brilliant, persuasive, charismatic guy who is also dangerously ambitious and deeply unstable.
He famously writes that great wit is close to madness, basically calling him a genius on the verge of insanity. The attack is just devastating because it's so witty. He's not shouting, he's dissecting the man's character with the precision of a surgeon's scalpel.
When you strip it all away, the poem's core argument presents a really stark choice to the reader. On one hand, you have the divine right of kings, this idea that the monarchy comes from God and provides stability and order. And on the other hand, you have factional chaos, political scheming, rebellion, stuff that Dryden warns will only lead the country straight back into a bloody civil war. It's a powerful pitch. Choose order or choose anarchy.
So the big question is, did it actually work? I mean, why are we still talking about a piece of political propaganda from the 1600s? Well, let's take a look at its incredible legacy.
What makes this poem so fascinating is that it has this incredible dual identity. On one side, it was absolutely a political weapon in its own time. It was designed to rally support for the king and paint his opponents as traitors not just to the country but to God himself. But on the other side, it's just a flat-out literary masterpiece. It's this timeless study of power, loyalty, and how ambition can absolutely destroy people.
So, why should you care about it today? Well, for one, it's still considered one of the greatest political satires in the English language, period. It's also the perfect case study of how art can be used as a powerful political weapon. What Dryden did was take one specific crisis and transform it into this timeless, universal allegory about power and family. It was so huge, so impactful, that it even got a sequel, which just goes to show you how vital it was to the political battles of the era. So in the end, you have this incredible situation where John Dryden used his genius, his pure artistic skill, to serve a political cause. He created something that is both a timeless work of art and a ruthlessly effective piece of propaganda. And that leaves us with a really big and still very relevant question to chew on. Can art ever truly be separate from politics?